Only two. Hey everyone, welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine Podcast. We are here today to give us your review, non-spoiler, and of course a full spoiler review of an Amazon picture from Amazon Studios, The Tomorrow War.
Give us your review. We're here to just listen.
Pratt. Joined, and I'm going to mute John, joined by the best owner, Andre, and this random guy named John. Say hello to the people on the internet.
What's up, guys? Howdy, folks.
And
the owners of Heroes World. You actually kind of forgot to say that. You said they're the owners, and I was like, of who? Of what? What's happening?
Owner and proprietor of Heroes World. Remember, John is number 2 and Andre's number 1. And from the rankings of the store owners of the week, based on John's performance on the last podcast, he's ranked number 2. And he will not be quiet.
I thought it'd be 3.
If there's a silent owner, you let me know. Then you're going to go down to 3. And of course, we're joined by our resident Prince of Mischief, variant 1999998, Rob Cadet. Say hello.
What's going on? Hey, everybody. What's up?
So, yes, we are here to talk about a movie that transpired the last couple of days ago, The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt. So, John, since you came up with this fabulous idea, I want you to give us the premise of this is, of course, a non-spoiler. Give us the premise of this movie called The Tomorrow War. What is happening?
So Tomorrow War stars Chris Pratt as like a science teacher or something, I believe, trying to get some other work in. He's got various things in electrical. But the overall premise is there's a war in the future that we're losing. Mm-hmm. So we need to recruit people from now to go to the future to help win this war. And I think that's all you need to know.
That's pretty much about it. Yeah.
All
right, John. So give us, what did you like? What did you dislike about this film?
So overall, again, we're spoiler free. I actually quite like this film. It kind of hits my the kind of genre that I like. I would say it is kind of a big budget popcorn type movie. I think the budget is what, 200 million. So this was originally supposed to go to theaters, I think.
Yep.
I think I really would have enjoyed this in theaters. I think I would have definitely been happy with my movie ticket purchase and going to see it. The only criticism I have is maybe towards the end, there's a couple kind of connecting things that just kind of happen a little too easily. And other than that, I think Chris Pratt did a really good performance overall. You go in thinking that he's just going to be Star-Lord, but I think he did a good job of kind of almost toning it back to almost like a late 90s actioner, so not pure jokes like what Marvel likes to do now in some of the other movies. He kind of gets a few jokes in here and there, but kind of does still play the serious man. So I overall I was pretty happy with it.
He does the thing where he's like, I'm just a science teacher, but I'm also Green Beret. So it's very conveniently he's also Green Beret. It's like a cook that also happens to be a Navy SEAL. I don't know if that's a thing that can happen.
Go under siege,
it's perfect. You're that era. So that is late. I want to say that is late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And then we get into Liam Neeson, the particular set of skills type character, and it gets too crazy.
It's very
he's
much
kind of in this sweet spot that I like.
Yeah, it's also an Alfred Pennyworth, I'm just the butler. Meanwhile, I was part of MI6. Don't ask questions how that exists, how I was a spy and did stuff, but I'm a butler that can also make a Batman costume technology and do everything that requires of Batman. So it's very convenient. You talk about how that works. But yes, Rob, give us your thoughts, your likes, your dislikes, the performances. Give us what are your things?
So when it comes to my the synopsis of the movie, I'll just stick to the trailers that are out there, so without spoiling anything. But I'm just going to say right off the bat, I went into this movie anticipating a B-level type movie, a movie that would be a one and done for me. Much like in the spring, Michael B. Jordan's Without Remorse, Tom Clancy movie was released on Amazon. I watched it and I was like, okay, I have no impetus to watch that movie again ever.
No remorse review there for
but so I was expecting a very similar type of movie. I think that, listen, we are of vintage age where a lot of movies were released direct to video as opposed to going into theaters, and you just knew if it was a direct to video movie even if it was starring Bruce Willis or whomever, you're like, oh, this isn't going to be good. Or Nicolas Cage, which is most of his portfolio of movies.
Hey, watch your mouth here.
But I was like super pleasantly surprised with this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I would watch this movie again if somebody's like, "Hey, do you want to watch this tomorrow?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, fire it up." It has a lot of like it has this is a true and used tired old trope of the everyday man who has a history that gives him a certain set of skills, to paraphrase John and Taken, that allow him to be the hero of the story. I like the idea, though. It takes place in 2022, December 2022, and while watching a soccer match or a footy match, all of a sudden, as you can
I have
see
many
in the
problems with
trailer,
that, Rob, but yes.
as you see in the trailer, people from the future come and say, "Hey," as John said, "we are in the middle of a war 50 years from the future. We need you." And they draft humans to jump into the future. It's an interesting trope. It's only for 7 days. It's like a 7-day contract that you're jumping into the future. I had a lot of Total Recall vibe to it. I had a lot of Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat vibe to it, which I liked. You understand through the trailers of that the protagonists, like, they're fighting aliens. I won't get into anything else, but that's all from the trailer. Overall, you could do a whole hell of a lot worse with 2 hours of your time. Whether you are celebrating July 4th today and maybe it's shitty weather where you are or whatever, and you've got a couple hours and you're lying on the couch or in your ottoman, recliner, lazy boy chair, whatever source of ass material you want to put yourself into, check this movie out, because
Rob said ass material.
there's a lot more shit out there that you would be wasting your time. This is a good and fun watch. Hello to my colleague Butthead over here, to my Beavis. So yeah, at any rate,
That's probably too much of a compliment for him. So we're gonna continue on. Andre, give us your views, likes, dislikes, performances. What are your thoughts?
I really like seeing I'm gonna pronounce her last name wrong. Yvonne Strahovski.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, because her name was Miri.
I'm not gonna correct you.
And I just finished playing the
kind of
Mass Effect
ruined stuff. But
Legendary,
yes,
and
she's
she
a
played
character
Miranda Lawson, and she's Miri here. So I'm like, yep, very much almost the
well,
same character from Mass Effect. So.
Don't say her first name, but she's a character in it because you kind of Anyways,
spoiler free.
Yeah, spoiler free.
I didn't say her. I said she's like Miranda Lawson.
Anyway,
Anyway,
the character in the movie, she plays a character in the movie. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't spoil anything. Like you see her in the trailer. She's in the poster.
Yeah, but she didn't say her name.
I never even watched trailers.
Okay, doesn't matter. Move on.
I like that part. I think there's a couple scenes in there. I can't say them for spoilers, but I will say, I'm not as generous as my other two reviewers here for the movie, and I'll get into that once we hit spoilers and stuff.
Okay. All right. So that is our thing. Out of a review, out of a score out of 1 out of 10, John, what are you giving this review?
I give this, and I'm always biased to like new, loud, noisy movies, so I give it an 8 out of 10.
Rob?
Yeah, man, it's an 8 out of 10 for sure. Go check this out.
Andre?
Don't give it a 0. Don't give it a 0.
He won't give it a 0. Come on.
You said 1 to 10.
Or 0 to 10. 0 to 10.
He's gonna give it a 1.
0 to 10. I would probably say a 2 or a 3.
Oh
wow.
Okay.
I knew that was
enough,
coming.
yeah.
I knew that was coming. Makes sense.
But that's why we do this, folks. We want to have
makes
different
sense.
opinions.
Okay, but my question, John, is could you watch this with the normie? If you could grag your wife to watch a movie, would she even be interested in this based on the trailer?
Yeah. This is very, very, very accessible. A little bit of time travel. Maybe that's the furthest stretch. But aliens or whatever coming in, and you in the human race having to stop them. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know if I would bring my wife to see this, but I think you could definitely just go if you were like, if this was in the movie theaters and you're like, let's go see something this Friday, you could definitely just go, let's go this, and you don't really have to ask too many questions.
Rob, same question.
Yeah, good point, John. My wife would not sit down and watch this movie with me at home. However, if I booked the tickets online and said, hey, let's go check out a movie, and she'd be like, okay, she would have watched it. Would she have liked it? It's just, but my wife's, she's an anomaly. She's a variant that should be pruned. Put it that way. Hard to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. Andre?
Yeah, I think anybody can watch this. I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for everybody who wants to turn their brain off and watch a movie that makes zero sense. So it's
Yeah.
Fair enough.
just go.
Fair enough. All right. Well, John, Andre, where can they find you on the internets in the desert of the real?
Yeah, so Instagram and Facebook, Heroes World Online, that'll bring you up to all our latest pictures and posts of new products coming in. We do tag the products, and that will take you directly to the website where you can, if you are not located in our area, you can have it shipped out to you within Canada, or you can mark it for pickup in store. So you can come to the store, pick it up, no fuss, no muss, and you can even come in and take a look around now. And then if you're listening to this on the audio, iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, whatever service you use, Heroes World podcast, you can search that, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating if you want on iTunes. That'd be very much appreciated. And thank you to everyone who always shares our stuff, comments, and gets at us in the messages when they want stuff. So thank you very much, folks.
Andre?
Yeah, come and see us at the store. We're fully stocked and open back 5 days a week from Tuesday to Saturday. So much more in store than what we have on our website, but I want to thank everybody for actually hitting up the website and then coming into the store, and they've been very positive and respectful since we've been reopened. And if you are in our area, in our neck of the woods, consider making the trip or give us a call, an email, a text, Instagram, Facebook message, even comment here if you're watching it on YouTube. We'll get back to you. We'll make some recommendations, some suggestions, and stuff, and we look forward to seeing you and interacting in person.
Rob, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Okay, yeah. So you can find me at Instagram at _905, all spelled out. But you know what's more important is, Stu, you can find John and I tomorrow, Monday, live, 8:00 Eastern. That's in the evening, everybody, because John sleeps in. On YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, it's the Heroes World Sidekick Show. Listen, we are jumping from one Chris Pratt movie to another one. We are doing a review of Moneyball tomorrow, and you're thinking that's not really on brand. It doesn't matter. John's not a sports person. This is on brand because it's going to be fun to watch him stumble his way through. Will he hit a line drive, or is he going to try to bunt? So definitely tune in tomorrow as we review that. And for those who are in Canada, it just happenstance that on July 1st, Moneyball dropped on Netflix. So you have an opportunity to check it out. Definitely do so later today or tomorrow morning, and then join us.
Coincidence, or are they watching the show?
So the answer is, Rob, you don't bunt. Bunt is not a good high percentage opportunity, especially if you're a player in scoring position. It's not really something you do in the American League. It's something that people do in the National League. And really, at that standpoint, who does that antiquated, technique? So yeah, the answer is no. You do not bunt. A high percentage shot is, you want to hit to the outfield. Hopefully,
Rob's gonna go sleep.
What?
So some advanced analytics from Stu right here. This is a sneak preview.
The bunting is not a thing. The odds are not in your favor at Katniss. Or maybe you're like C3PO and you never want me to tell you the odds. There we go. So I'm super excited to see I know there's a bumping chat room. Where's the chat? Is it on YouTube that they should go if they want to?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
So
YouTube is the most active. Yeah.
If you want to connect with them, YouTube is the best place to connect with the chat. I'll be there, bringing my glasses up, talking about sports analytics tomorrow. So look excited for us. So yeah, tomorrow,
They're at the Stu.
Moneyball. It's gonna be great. Okay, so now we're gonna do a full spoiler review of that. So thank you for joining us. If you want to participate now or see it, we are a full spoiler of the Tomorrow War. So John, I'm back to you, buddy. Tell us the movie. Give us the rundown. I love the Rock.
Rob gave us a good summary of the entire beginning of the movie, where you just see Chris Pratt in his family life trying to struggle to make things happen during that, and during a soccer match, soldiers from the future, youngish soldiers from the future, drop into the soccer match and tell everyone that they need your help, and they create this whole conscription thing where I think the percentage is like 20% of the people they send come back from fighting this future war. And then you learn that Chris Pratt gets drafted into this, and he does have a military background. He was an ex-Green Beret, and he gets thrown in with a bunch of just basically regular regular people, because I guess they don't have enough trained army dudes to do this. So he gets thrown in with everyday folks. They travel to the future in a very, I don't know if we're going to go into the time explanation thing of rafts and all that kind of stuff. And they go to the future and they fight these aliens. So, and they're called, what are they called? Like stickers or shooters or white nails?
White
spikes.
White spikes.
Yeah, like the
so
white stripes.
Yeah. So it very,
just like in football, it's perfect. Where you talk about Seven Nation Army, Rob. That's all we're cheering right now for the European Championship. Yes, continue on.
And they're very aliens, xenomorphs meets Starship Troopers meets what's the actual name of the movie now? Forever Tomorrow or Tomorrow Never Dies or Live Die Repeat, whatever. Kind of
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Was
the original
was
title
called.
was Live Die Repeat based on the manga, but they said that's stupid, so we're gonna go
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, so you get vibes of all that stuff. They go to the future, and Chris Pratt meets I don't know. Do we want to go full spoilers? He meets his then 9 or 12-year-old daughter. Is all grown up, and she is the Colonel General leading this kind of big effort, and has put all these things into action. So he wants to save her. He gets jumped back. So they perform whatever their mission is. They jump back, and he proceeds to attempt to save the day in real world. And they find out that these aliens have actually been hiding on Earth the entire time and have tunneled up through the Arctic iceberg or something like that.
Yep.
And then crazy final boss fight ensues, and we get very jacked J.K. Rowling's or whatever his name is.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Rowling.
Who's J.K. Rowling? Can we get a jacked J.K. Rowling as well?
Fantastic Beast.
Honestly, we give this movie a 10 out of 10.
Spoiler.
Jack J.K. Rowling shooting people.
Look out for Jack J.K. Rowling's coming up, but J.K. Simmons makes steps into the role, and they have a big fight at the end, and then we have our happy ending, which I was.
Did you forget the Predator ship in this whole thing too? The fact that was a thing.
Yeah, there's a ship that brought these aliens, which was piloted by other aliens, which leads to a whole kind of like what the hell's going on.
This is essentially Alien versus Predator. These aliens were carrying these other aliens.
Yeah, I assume it's a play on it. Could have been like, they maybe want to combine all these universes at some point, but these aliens do not bleed acid, which I feel like is a very OP part of the alien xenomorph mythology.
The fact that they shoot the claws, it's like it's already better than the other aliens, because the other aliens.
No, but aliens bleeding acid is ridiculous. Like, how do they function? First of all, but the fact that you shoot them and acid just comes out and melts everything, like that's very OP. And I bet you they wish they probably didn't write that in there. But anyways, that's essentially the move. Yeah. It's but it murders everything. It's just so unbeatable. I don't know.
That's the point. Xenomorphs were a biologically created weapon. So of course if your weapon's gonna get blown up at close distance, you want to kill what blew you up. Right? So anyways, we could talk aliens all day.
It's a whole different story. And we can talk about the slow crash and burn of that franchise another day. So it never recovered from Aliens.
Shout out the pinnacle of all pinnacles. To Jesse, who's going through all those movies now. So good luck, buddy.
I'll tell you this: the worst Alien or Predator movie was about 10 times better than this nonsense.
Yeah, that's
was fine. That Alien versus Predator, the one in film?
Even that last Predators movie, which was just donkey balls, was better than this.
No, I don't know about that one.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Okay, so John, thank you for that. Tell us now, full spoilers. What did you like? What did you dislike? Tell us your thoughts.
I really enjoyed it. Like, especially the entire first. I don't know when it kind of like maybe this is a 2-hour movie, right? So the first hour and a bit. Yeah. The first hour and a bit where they jump to the future and they're kind of doing their thing. When they kind of jump back, it kind of things become a little too convenient. Like they kind of put together the puzzle pieces. All these kind of like things that they established at the very beginning of the movie suddenly, just magically fall into place. But I really liked the entire first, I guess, two-thirds were really my favorite point. I really like I like Chris Pratt. I like who played his buddy. Charlie or something, Sam Richardson. I don't know. I'm not familiar with his work. I know he was funny, though. That this particular part was a little offbeat for him, I think I was told. But I really liked that character. I don't know if we're going to go into favorite characters or whatever later on.
You can do whatever you want now. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah. I liked him. My favorite part was when the aliens are coming down the stairwell and he's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then he just keeps going for like 2 minutes. I'm like, that would be me. I'd just be like, oh shit, like shooting everything. But I like the idea. Like, I know it's gonna seem kind of cheesy, you know. I really like military dudes doing their thing. But you have Chris Pratt being the experienced military dude. He's kind of showing his calm under pressure. He's like flipping clips around, helping people. And at one point, some guy's like, oh, you can't train these guys to be soldiers. But I like the idea of just these like everyday people kind of becoming heroes and like kind of stepping up. Like, obviously, you know, maybe they're not soldiers and stuff, but everybody, I think Chloe from 24 was in there.
She was.
She got in a heroic death. And I thought that was cool that they were kind of like, we're here together. This guy is leading us. We're part of a team. I'm willing to sacrifice and come through for this. I like a lot of, oh man, so many of those people just fell off that building and died, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But I like that. And then there's another point when an alien's like bursting through the door and one of the guys like turns back and like tries to hold the door shut to save everybody else. I'm like, it's cool to see these like, and you look at him, you're like, oh no, he doesn't stand a chance. But he took that moment to be a hero, which really, I don't know what about it just hit me. And then the turn when they revealed it, it's his daughter, when he's like, oh, Forrester, it's like same, like, do you spell it the same way? And then I'm like, oh shit, it's his daughter. And I'm like, I thought that was cool. And that was great casting. Andre is familiar with that girl or whatever, but she looks like,
as well.
Yeah, she looks just like the girl who played the mother, and kind of like it. So it really did look like it possibly could have been their grown-up daughter. Oh, she was from Chuck? Oh, I actually quite liked her.
She's basically, Chuck, yeah.
Yeah. I really like that. But yeah, like the movie just hit, and then J.K. Simmons, he definitely needed some more background. So I don't know if that's gonna be one of Andre's criticisms or whatever, but he just kind of comes out of nowhere. He's a mysterious character, and then at the end he's like, you know, ride or die all of a sudden. But overall, I don't know what about it just hit perfect for me. I don't know if I just like this genre, this sci-fi thing, and I like Chris Pratt being the hero. And like I said earlier, he definitely dialed it back. He definitely was not just Star-Lord in this. He kind of was the action hero who got quick, like they injected humor. Sometimes, it was like really weird points where they would add a sudden jolt of humor. But overall, I thought he did a really good job kind of being this action hero that wasn't super trying too hard kind of thing. So I really liked him in the role. But yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go on because I liked it. So basically, yeah.
All right, Rob, give us what you like, what you didn't like, performances.
Yeah, I liked it. You know what? I'm gonna kind of reiterate what John just said quickly about Chris Pratt dialing it back. Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy and Chris Pratt in the Jurassic World movies is not really a lot of difference, except one's on terra firma, the other one's flying around in space. And in this movie, he's vastly different. He's not going for the laughs. We have the other characters like Gator Simmerton, who was more of the comedic relief. Man, I really enjoyed this movie. Like, even talking about it now, I'm like, shit, I would fire this shit up right now and rewatch it again. It was just a fun movie. Andre obviously does not see eye to eye with me, which is fine. I don't agree with Andre. I think like that last Predator movie with Olivia Munn, as much as I'm a Munn fan, I despise a Munhead. I despise Predator dogs. So I'm gonna go kind of on a tangent here on the things I liked and whatnot. I'm glad, like, having his daughter be like the colonel in the future. I'll tell you what I thought when they were on their mission to go rescue the research people. I thought his daughter was going to be one of the researchers and he had to protect her to get her. Like, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen. Then when they show up and you have the bodies like Predator 2 in LA strung up and hanging from the rafters, I was like, oh, okay, so his daughter is not, that's fine. I thought that, the grown-up Miri looked a lot younger than I had anticipated her age being based on the timeline. I liked the contraption on the arm. Again, that gave me the very Total Recall type thing, you know, putting it in and strapping it to his arm.
How do you shower? Do you have to like put a bag on it? Is it waterproof?
Okay. I thought that
we'll get to that, John. We'll get to that after. Let Rob go.
I thought the 7-day thing was kind of cool. I mean, it was interesting, especially when they were like, and the fact that, you know, John said that these are everyday people. They didn't even have basic training. You are essentially it's like going to a slaughterhouse, right? You are asses in a seat at a call center. It doesn't make a difference. We need you in there. You're doing the job. If you survive, great. And if not, oh well. I thought it was kind of neat that they were picking people based on whether or not they had died, and they were able to determine when they died. So I think because there was a comment that not everybody qualifies, and I get that could be because they are still alive past the war, because half the human population has been decimated at the time of this war. So if they were still alive then, they couldn't be sent back from now. So I kind of like that. I actually like the aliens in this. I thought they were at first kind of like, all right, we're back to like another Edge of Tomorrow, typical. How, what was one of that? Not Cloverfield, but kind of like Quiet Place 1. I was like, oh, okay, we're back to the type of aliens. But I got to say, this alien queen, we haven't seen since the original, Alien and Aliens, Aliens, an alien queen be as formative, right? Like, I actually kind of liked it that she was just so vicious, and especially when they test out the serum or not serum, I guess, but the
poison.
The poison, thanks, to decimate them, and they're like, oh yeah, look at them exploding, and then they're like, holy shit, they've all woken up, and then you see like just thousands of them down below. You're like, oh man, right? We've screwed something up. I thought it was kind of funny, even though you could telegraph the student at the beginning of the movie when he's like, does anybody else have a question? Anybody else have a comment? And then it's like, I want to talk about volcanoes. And he was like, okay, talk about volcanoes again. And he goes, what volcanoes are like? And I was like, that kid, that the volcanoes are going to come up later on. Like, you can kind of telegraph it. And yet when they go back and they're like, hey, tell us everything you know. And he's like, I've been waiting for this moment. And I thought, oh my God, like that was just so cool. And then you have Gator sitting next to him going, oh my God, I can't believe this is amazing. This is like the best moment of your life, kid. And I was like, it just felt really sincere to me. I loved that scene. For whatever reason, like that scene had a lot of heart. And I was like, I thought it was kind of neat, right? And that third act, like I said before, I piggyback on John. I thought the third act is where it kind of falls apart for me, to be honest with you. I loved the future stuff. I loved the action scenes. I loved the special effects. It didn't look cheap. A lot of these direct to streaming services, or what we call direct to video, they look like shit. They look really cheap, right? It looked like Ed Wood had maybe done a little bit of masculine, and it was a bit better looking. But this type of stuff it looked amazing. A lot of money went into it. But the third act does definitely fall apart. Although seeing J.K. Simmons, who's not the author of the Harry Potter franchise,
he's not,
taking people out with the sniper, taking out the aliens with a sniper rifle. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So overall, I gave it an 8 out of 10. It's a strong 8 for me. This is a fun movie. This is a movie you can sit on your couch, you can watch, and I would definitely, in the day of like hundreds of movies and TV shows being released a month, you have to set yourself out. And I know Andre disagrees with me, and that's cool, but this is a movie that I would go back to and watch. And that for me says a lot, because there's a shit ton of stuff that I'm well behind on, including apparently either 3, 5, or 15 seasons of Supernatural that I haven't watched yet, but I would watch this again. So that for me is the benchmark.
And to your point, Rob, the representation was really cool because you had two people of color who were science nerds, and one who was like a head of R&D, and the other person's like, I'm a science nerd. It's just nice to see those type of roles go to people of color, not necessarily the generic person that would be in previous movies where it'd be a very, let's say, non-diverse cast. So it was cool to see that. Chris Pratt was surrounded by people of color all the time. So it was his whole crew was basically that. So it was interesting to see the direction they went into. But yes, all right, Andre. I know you've been waiting patiently to go. So yes, give us your thoughts.
I might need to do a separate pod because I don't want to go on and on. But
I'll just cut you off. Don't worry. Just go. Do your best hits.
The main bullets. I'm curious to hear where this didn't hit for you, which is fine. Everyone has different tastes, different expectations.
Let me speak on what I'm going to say, and then think of what I said and see if you can actually find some answers to what I'm going to talk about. This movie, again, and I'm going to preface it again. I'm a little bit older. I do like this type of genre of stuff, but at a certain point, the bare minimum I need for a movie to be entertained is it has to make sense. The initial premise, no matter where it comes from, has to make sense. So unfortunately for this movie, right after, I saw the trailer And I didn't really think that that was actually going to be the premise. But the premise of this movie is so mind-numbingly stupid. It's fucking point. It's the most ridiculous thing. Let's think about it, okay? People come from the future, okay? And then they say, we're losing a war 28 years from now. If you don't help us, we're going to lose 28 years from now. Then the story says, then the story says the governments of the world sent their militaries there, and then they got decimated. And then it got so bad that you had to conscript civilians. Okay. First of all, I'm going to ask Rob and Stu and John. You guys have kids, right? Someone says you got to go 28 years in the future to fight a war 28 years from now. You gonna leave your kids right now?
For the chance that they could grow up?
You're going to die or have 28 years with your kids.
You don't know what set of skills I have.
No, I'm sorry.
Andre, this is the part in Fast and Furious where you said, I had a life. I had a life. I did stuff. Don't ask me where I got the safe from, but I had a life.
No, but Andre, go on. Yeah.
Go ahead, Andre. Yeah.
It's the dumbest fucking premise in the whole world. I'm not leaving to go anywhere except to save people here and now, right? And Rob mentioned it. Oh, the only people get conscripted are people that were dead in the future. Oh, so these guys came from the future with a fucking USB on how everybody died and they could follow, oh, you died in 7 years. Why don't you bring back technology from 30 years in the future? They must have made a better gun, a better piece of armor, a better something, and say, hey, we got to stockpile this shit now. So when those aliens possibly pop up, right, we can fight them. The reason this plot is so dumb, it's never been done before because it makes no fucking sense, right? You come from the future, you come to the past, and you say, hey, in the future, this happens. Therefore, that future is changed. It doesn't exist. So at the end, when Chris Pratt is saying, I'm going to come back for you and save you, that timeline does not exist anymore because the people came from the future and changed it. End of story. And if you say, no, you can't change that future timeline, then what was the point of them fighting and doing that? Right? Not only do you not train your soldiers, not only do you not give them weapons or body armor, we had a guy who went 3 tours and he didn't think to grab the body armor off the dead dude. He's going to fight in a red t-shirt. Like, at what point, how much of my suspension of disbelief do you need? Right? Like legit. Every other live, die, repeat. Great premise. Obviously, it's not time travel, right? But it had a cool premise. If you're doing time travel, you have to make it compelling and at least believable. Not, oh, there's 2 rafts and you can only jump in between those 2 rafts. Well, how come the raft couldn't go further back? Oh, it's always got to be 30 years. Oh, all right. So those people jumped from the future and chilled on Earth for a year and a bit and made a time raft, but they couldn't do anything else. Like, I just can't buy it. Like, that's what I'm talking about, the Predator. I'd rather buy an alpha super predator hunting another predator, and at the end of the movie, they get a predator suit to fight other predators, right? This was just ridiculous. Then let's talk about the real world implication. The dude comes back with information and says, hey, those aliens might not be here. And the guy says, oh, our whole world is at war or at dispute because in 30 years, we might not live. 30 years is a goddamn long time. How about they just say, hey, you know what? If we stop global warming, those ice caps won't melt. Hey, why don't we unify the planet? And they specifically said NATO disbanded, right? You would unify if those guys brought proof that the aliens existed. They said, hey, we can't show you what the aliens look like because then you won't come and fight for us. I'm not coming to fight for you anyways, right? It's just so dumb. They didn't even take time to think about fixing any of that. Give them a reason. Say, oh, hey, these aliens, you got to come to the future because those aliens are getting to our time facility. And if they get to the time facility, they're going to come back here and mess you up. Oh, okay, now I'll maybe take the chance and go, right? But it's ridiculous. Then the government legit send their citizens to a future to die but they won't believe the guy and say, hey, why don't you take a couple helicopters and a thing? But, oh, we had to foreshadow the father having a C-130 so that he could fly them with snowmobiles, enough explosives to blow up an Arctic cap. And I'm like, listen, man, at this point, like what the actual fuck? So I don't know. I'm glad you guys entertained it. I'm glad that you guys can legit watch stuff that makes no fucking sense, and they don't even try to make sense, right? I don't care how bizarre the Fast and Furious movies are, that they can jump a car through a fucking building into another building or whatever, right? But this, it's like they didn't even try, you know.
Or they shift gears in a Dodge Charger, which only comes in an automatic.
Exactly. Or they do something like that. Yeah, that is forgivable. I am like, the premise for me was too far out. I looked up this writer after seeing it, saying how this is so bad, and I saw what else he's written. Holy crap! Like, don't let this guy near anything again. It was. I just can't get over how ridiculous, and it wasn't even ridiculous in a good way. I just watched on Netflix Death Race Apocalypse or something, and that had more of a plot where the U.S. government cordoned off this whole zone, and they were broadcasting like underground on the dark net death races.
Is that the one with Luke Goss in it or something?
I think so. I'm like, I was thinking,
and Robin Show maybe.
This movie was really bad, and then I'm like, whoa, it actually had more of a premise than this. So I disagree with Rob that the special effects look good. I watched it on my 70-inch HD TV with big sound and everything, hoping that would make up for it. No, the effects look cheap. You know, the thing, like the whole thing of here, take a gun and go to the future, and they all had their moment. What, like, seriously? And you didn't even see people fighting it. The people like, oh yeah, I guess I got conscripted, so I'm gonna go. Here, give a gun to this clearly overweight dude who can't run, can't do it. And they're like, oh, we don't need to train you, just go. So what were they going to do? Like, legit, they were gonna buy them some time? No, right? Why wouldn't the people come back in time and pick out a specialty force? Why, when they dropped in to go save that research, why didn't the guys in the Humvees just go that we're going to pick them up 5 minutes later? They could have just sent the dudes in the Humvees, right? Yeah, but they could have just sent the dudes in the Humvees, and they could have got where they were going, right?
They didn't make it. They didn't even make it to the rendezvous point.
Well, yeah. So you're telling me scrubs humans with no training and a 15-year-old vet that hasn't done anything has a better chance than dudes in an actual anyways, it's just,
I like to believe that, though. That the common people can rise up and
yeah,
Andre,
I
all those,
save their own world.
Andre, all that time I was playing Call of Duty is going to come in handy when I get thrown in the future. I don't think you recognize that playing Call of Duty.
I'm sure some of those people didn't even ever pick up an Xbox controller or PC to play Call of Duty. Anyways, I like legit even thinking about it. I think a 2 or 3 is too high.
It's generous.
I can't believe you do why it's like, you know what? There was a movie more than a couple years ago called Battlefield LA. And people said how shitty this movie was and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, goddamn masterpiece compared to this. Like, I don't know if you guys watched it, John. You probably didn't watch it.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that was
it was worse than this movie. You're out of your fucking mind, man. Honestly,
no, The Rock was not in Battlefield. I think it was like Michelle Rodriguez and Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart was in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that movie.
I might
at least made sense, bro.
That
movie at least made sense. And the special effects were better. The aliens made sense. This whole thing, like, again, nonsense. No person on Earth, unless they said, yo, I'm gonna kill your kid now.
It's not Battlefield Earth, it's Battlefield LA.
Oh, sorry, Battlefield LA.
Battlefield LA. You said LA. I looked up Battlefield Earth. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's a different movie.
Nobody's going to that future. You know, it would have made a better movie if his dad took off the thing and then they sent a team to hunt him, and then they send people to the future, right? And I'll just say this.
Hey, I did see Battlefield LA, and I don't remember it at all.
Yeah. Okay.
But maybe I won't remember this one at all. You know.
Yeah. Well, you obviously it's different.
How many years?
But let me tell you
2011, that movie came out. So 10 years from now, maybe.
Yeah, that was Aaron Eckhart, Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I did see it. I did 100% see it.
Michael Pena, Neo. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk
about
it.
100% see it. Yeah.
They said the reason that they can't send somebody to the future if they're still alive is that it creates a paradox. Well, if the Earth is going to get destroyed, I'll I'll take Paradox for 500, Alex. How much fucking worse could it be?
You take Paradox over being eaten alive by aliens.
Yeah, like again, just stupid. Like this.
Well,
this
I
movie
do
was
though-
dumb on
I do
another
though-
level. Like Jurassic World, like yeah, you're going to see the big dinosaurs, and of course it makes no sense because at the premise, people are going to go to a park with dinosaurs, and shit's going to happen. Like that's just it. But this again, there's not. I challenge you guys to tell me one part of what I just said makes any sense.
Well, I will say though that his daughter did say that she requested that he be brought forward. Like she was like she does say that later on in the movie.
She says he's the only one that she wanted to trust, but the only reason that he can come forward is because he died when she was 16.
Right. Yeah, so she knows that
if he was still alive, we have no movie. Which again, I don't care about that. I thought that was a nice little twist that it's his daughter, whatever, and it kind of makes sense. He's going to want to fight, harder. But again, that timeline does not exist. So him saying "send me back," even though the time machine in the water in the Bermuda Triangle, and let's not even talk about that. So that bitch alien queen screamed, and then those things swam thousands of miles, and there wasn't a buoy that would alert them when they got closer. They didn't
set off the mines.
The whole thing around.
They did. Those were mines blowing up when they first showed up.
I guess those things are freaking invincible or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool. That cruise ship crashing and burning. I thought that was a cool visual.
Yeah.
I like the movie.
All right, we're gonna go on. We're gonna go on to the next question.
It's fine.
Okay, let's talk about
dislike it.
Let's talk about. Don't worry, John. We're gonna go unanswered questions. What are the? I think Andre talked a few of unanswered questions, but does anyone have any unanswered questions in the movie? Like, so we're not alone in the universe. A.1. 2. I guess there's some predator aliens.
We're not alone on Earth.
Like there were not just one alien, but multiple aliens on Earth at one point in time. So that's something interesting. It was. Anything else that you had questions about? That clearly Andre has lots, but John and Rob, did you have any unanswered questions?
No, I went into this I didn't even see the trailers for this movie. I didn't even know what I was watching. I just knew it had Chris Pratt and it had someone did mention it had some type of time travel, so I went completely blind. But yeah, Andre's points I think are perfectly valid when you really think about it. Yeah, it's like why they're going to conscript these people, and then they're going to be, if they die before the time that they die, there's going to be a huge chunk of them missing, and I think who knows what they affect later on. But
yeah, Mary said already that they're losing the war. They're losing the war, and they knew they were losing the war. What they're trying to do is essentially get the people here as fodder to waste as much time until they could capture the queen and do the experiment. So this was all about just extending the time for them to do the experiment because they knew they were going to lose regardless of which. So they're like, oh, we're going to lose. We just need to keep this a little bit going another week
but then
for the Sabbath, and that's it.
Then how do they lose? Because literally it's 12 months later. If every nation on Earth even sent 10% of its military, the United States sending 10% of its tanks and planes through these whatever time portals, how do they get wrecked? Like, how did that not buy them enough time? Right? Like, and you see the aliens, they can shoot, right? And the only thing they know about the aliens is, oh, they're trying just to eat us. Okay, well, maybe build a fortress that they can't get in, and once they eat everything, I was going to say
breed a million cows.
Then they're going to die out, right? Like there's no premise. Like I'm going to digress just a little bit. There's a video game that I really love, and it was called Horizon Zero Dawn. Okay. And if you collected all the story tidbits, basically it talks about the Earth is going to end. There's going to be this robot apocalypse, and the military leader had to basically buy the scientists enough time to make like a type of ark so humanity could live. And they explained it through these things saying, hey, I'm literally training people and sending people out. They can't win. They're just buying us minutes. Every minute buys the scientists time so that the human race would persevere. And once you've got that revealed, and sure, the game takes place hundreds of years in the future, the world's whole different. But once you realize that, and you're reading this guy's journal, and he says, like, I have been the general of the most, like, the desolation of the human race. I'm like, even a video game inside story journals had better premise or
That's
better.
the part of the
better
video game
writing
that I
than
usually
man.
completely ignore.
You hold the circle down to skip cinematics.
Yeah. It's like you picked up a journal, blah blah blah. Do you want to listen to it now? And I'm like,
Click,
skip.
click. Yeah. No, and Andre, I think your point is your logic is.
No, I
valid
think
in
yeah.
that,
Once
but-
you start poking, especially with these time travel,
Yeah,
things,
like
I
this
don't
is-
know.
this
It-
is
It's
I
not
was-
even
I was
poking holes. It's right there. I'm not nitpicking. It's
You know
right
what?
there.
You know what? Here's the
dude.
thing.
But
Here's the thing: is that these movies, these are not however you want to judge a movie. Yeah, Oscar-worthy movie. We but off air we talk. Stu and I were just talking about The Sound of Metal. Great movie. You can go through a litany of all the Best Picture nominee movies. There are going to be movies that strike you. You watch. There's some movies you're going to watch once. Like I only watched Joker once. I really enjoyed it. It's too difficult for me to want to watch it again. But I acknowledge it and I liked what I saw. And there are movies that are just fun movies. There are movies that you just watch and they are popcorn fun movies that are in the same genre as like great action movies, but ones that you're just going to throw on because you're going to enjoy it for what it is. And this was for me, it was a fun time. I don't need to get. I guess I judge movies that if they're telling me it's an Oscar-worthy movie and it's nominated, I expect a certain level of sense and reason and logic behind things. A movie like this, I don't need everything. A doesn't have to equal B, doesn't have to equal C. As long as it's fun and it quasi makes sense, and I can just enjoy the action, enjoy the actors for what they're doing, then I'm sold. Like, and again, I watched without remorse. I'm a Tom Clancy fan in terms of those movies. All the way back to the original Jack Ryan stuff. It was an okay movie. It was, to quote Stu, it was fine, but would I ever watch it again? No, there's no impetus for me to rewatch that. But this movie was fun enough that I would rewatch it again.
So again, a movie has to make no sense.
No,
for you
let's
to
keep
enjoy
on
it.
going because
No,
I think your point has been
Yeah,
set in stone,
you got
Andre,
it, yeah.
and that's we're just treading the same
Yeah,
time loop
whatever.
conversation. Like
I
Loki.
think it's a
I-
bigger.
I-
walk.
I do-
You can
You're
talk about
walking
how
in.
you can just
You're
watch
walking
something that
in
you
and
don't
kicking people
care
in the
that it makes
balls. And
sense.
no. It's I don't think you need to say it 12 times for us to get the point, Andre. I get it. We all get it. We understand your view. Say
Yeah,
it
but I
again
don't
in a
understand
different way.
yours, so that's why I'm trying to get at it.
I haven't
right?
said
I think
anything,
that's a deeper
so I
conversation,
don't understand.
right?
But again, we get your view, and I think if anyone's watching,
No,
the
I
podcast,
think
they got
Andre,
it.
you already put
you
it perfectly.
articulated it. So that's it.
You
So-
enjoy Fast and the Furious. I could, if I wanted, start poking all these holes in the Fast, but I'm not. I'm fine with them.
Let's
but I could, like I said, those Dodge Chargers
end
don't
of
come
the
in manual
day-
transmission, and they show it and then there's all kinds of other car things that I
No,
would
but all the
want
stunts.
explained to me. But
wait,
that's aside.
John,
I
I
do
think-
have something, Stu. When those white spikes. At sometimes they would shoot guns out of people's hands. Do you think they were intentionally knew that this gun was a threat and they would spike the guns out of characters' hands, or do you think it was just coincidence?
This movie is so ridiculous that you just wash everything aside because again, I don't know if that was by reflex or they never talk about intelligence levels. They never mentioned if they're smart or dumb or they're just like whether they were like sentient, where they had conversations, just the conversation they had about like the cooing. It's like, oh, I can remember when there's support groups, like you just hear the clicking. I'm like, and that's all you remember, like the people that came back from the war, the first return. So I look at the Rotten Tomatoes review. They refer to Yvonne Strahovski as Romeo Command, so they never say her name because again, if you said Miri, it ruins the movie. So my apologies to anyone that was ruined by Andre saying Miri at the beginning of the pod. But
no, they probably didn't notice.
The reviews. Are typically, the no surprise, the critics review rated this a 52 and the audience score was 81. So people want to, if you're just going for a popcorn movie and you're going to watch it at the theater, yeah, people are all down. But if you're looking for, like this probably has as much storyline as Tenet, to be fair. Tenet was just as flimsy as this too, but Tenet somehow managed to look way better with the same amount of money. So yeah, I disagree that it looked good for 200 million. I just sat there going, where's this money going? It can't be all for Chris Pratt. 200 million. So I want to ask,
fine. Yeah,
it was fine. I want to ask, this movie was slated to come in the movie theater, but it went out on streaming. Do you think that if it would have went in the movie theater, like, is this, if you had to, I guess, do it again, is it a streaming movie or is it a movie theater movie? Like, in your opinion, is this box office worthy, or did they make the right decision by putting on streaming?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I actually, like I mentioned before, I totally would have seen this in theaters. I don't know if I would have chosen it because I actually didn't follow it. I had no expectations for this movie. I didn't watch the trailer. Everyone told me the trailer looked awful, so I might have skipped out on it based on reputation. But if I did go see this in theaters, I think it did look like a box office movie. Obvious, like special effects aside, whether you thought they were good or not. The beats were all there. You had a big star, Chris Pratt at least, and some of the other cast is well known, I believe. So all the recipes there. There's a lot of action, a lot of explosions, that kind of stuff. And like we stated earlier, it's a movie that you would just go on Friday night, your typical action alien invasion movie. So yeah, I think it would have done well. And I don't know if it would have done well, but I would have expected to see this in theaters. Yeah.
Rob?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I saw the original teaser that they released a few weeks ago, and I know they've released another full trailer just this week leading up to it, which I don't know why. And I didn't watch that one.
Get people to go watch it on Prime.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, it was just why release a trailer 4 days before. And I didn't watch it because I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. I knew we were going to be doing this. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch it regardless. So I didn't watch the second trailer. Pre-pandemic, there would have been a hype machine. It would have been marketing, this and that. Would I have gone to see it? Probably opening weekend. No, if they still had the cheap Tuesdays, it probably would have gone on a Tuesday evening to go watch it. Because I don't think there's anything in this movie that would be considered massive spoilers where you get most of the MCU stuff. You have to kind of see it opening weekend. So yeah, I definitely probably would have seen it in the theaters. But I'm glad that they didn't hold off and keep this back strictly for theaters. I think this is a fun, sometimes you miss a movie in the theaters and you pick it up on home video and it's like a blind buy or whatever, and you throw it on. I think it would have been worth the $20, blind buy Blu-ray release when, it hits the Walmart shelves. So yeah, I would have seen it on a cheap Tuesday, but it's hard to answer your question because it's how,
Well, you answer my question to say you would want to watch on a cheap Tuesday. That says all you need to know, that you wouldn't pay full price to see it. So
you wouldn't have paid if you had to pay $20-$30 premium access. You wouldn't have done that.
Well, just based on the one teaser I saw, no.
Yeah.
But I'm also wasn't.
You wouldn't. The answer is not on the first day, not on the first weekend, maybe week 3 at a Tuesday show. That speaks volumes for what you anticipate for this movie.
Yeah.
Andre, is your thoughts? Would you have seen this in the theater?
See it if it was in the theater? Yeah.
No, but did it look like a movie? Like whatever plot issues aside, did it look like a movie that should have been in theaters, or did it look like a straight to video?
No, to me it looked like a straight to video.
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah.
And I do think there have been movies with like that have looked worse in the theater. Like, so again, it could have. I just think there's definitely something off with all the straight to streaming service movies in how they have looked, with maybe the exception of that Michael Bay one with my man Ryan Reynolds that I couldn't finish watching, but at least that looked like it was movie quality.
Yeah.
But everything else, there's just something missing. And like I said, I watched this as close to movie as I could. Big sound, 70-inch TV, like all of it. So, but maybe again, if we all went to the movie theater and we laughed about it and all that stuff, then the movie theater experience changes everything. So
yeah. I think, John, we have to recalibrate what it means, because there are good movies that are going to go streaming going forward because they want you on the platform. They don't make money in the movie theaters because you have to split like the $30 or $29.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying, money wise, visually wise, star wise, it looked like it should have been a theater movie to me.
It's weird because I looked at you made fun of the band, like what it could get wet and whatnot. I kept on watching it, squinting, and I'm like, it looked like it's CGI half the time. I'm like, maybe that's why they spent all the money, like, because it wasn't like a real metal thing. It was kind of like, it looked weird the entire time. Anytime it was just like Chris Pratt showing like with his shirt, short sleeve, and he's wearing the armband thing. I'm like, oh, it looks really weird. I guess that's where they spent their CGI budget.
It could have been a small like wrist bracelet instead or something.
Yeah, like it should have been
They did make it into a gauntlet, so I guess you could see the time. Even though whenever they showed the timer, I couldn't figure out what it said. I think it was like a countdown to how much time he had. I was like, is that a 20?
Days.
Is that a 1?
Days.
What is it? Like every time they'd show it, I'd be like, I don't see what's going on. They were better off with that little Fallout Pip-Boy thing they did in Loki or whatever. You could actually understand that thing.
Well, it was like basically like a Nintendo like Donkey Kong controller that we had back as a kid, when you'd open it up and there'd be 2 screens where you had to get Mario up to the top of Donkey Kong. whatever that thing was called. I don't remember. It was not a Game Boy, but it predated that as the handheld console. But okay, so last question: is this movie a franchise? Can they make more of this storyline, or is this a one and done? John?
Well, obviously, I think they've set it up that those other aliens transporting the other aliens, but they made a pretty definitive ending. I was like, oh man, the alien's gonna fall off the cliff and it's gonna be lost in the ether, and then now they can have a sequel. But it went splat pretty good on whatever the hell it hit.
Yeah.
But I will question if maybe Andre, do you think if they stopped, where he jumps back and has the formula, what if they just stopped the movie there? Is that less worse for you? Would you have been like, because that would have been like 1 hour 30 mark, I think. They could have ended the movie right there. And they could have said, oh, you know what? Maybe he takes this formula. Maybe he saves the day. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? And then he goes back to his family. Like would that? It wouldn't
have made the movie any better. But I think that would have been a better place to end it. And then you could actually have a sequel. I think they're gonna franchise this if it does well, for sure. Why not? Because who's to say that's the only ship that crash landed on the planet, right? So they could, like there's been worse franchises.
I did enjoy Chris Pratt's character. I did enjoy that girl who played his grown-up daughter. So if there's potential
not like
for
we're
them
watching
to show up again,
that terrible Mark Wahlberg Infinite movie. So we dodged that bullet. We somehow got a 16 review.
Is it out? Did it come out?
Oh yeah, it came out and it just disappeared. It came out like
I remember seeing the trailer.
We talked about doing a review for it, and then we just said, you know what, the reviews came out. It looks really bad. It was 16% on Rotten Tomato and audience score of 37. So we just said, yeah, we're not going to do this review.
Yeah.
It was somehow worse than anything else we reviewed. It would have been
The Big Hit. Was it worse than The Big Hit?
Yes.
That's a fun Mark Wahlberg movie from the past.
I think if I
I like this cast, so I would actually like to see this cast. Maybe that's why I'm okay with it, Andre, because I did like this cast. And the way they interact, even though some of the situations they were in were just silly as hell, but I just like seeing them interact. So
I'm gonna go to Rob for a second, but just for your clarification, The Big Hit got 43 on Rotten Tomato and 57% film score. So yes, it was more popular, doubled the review Infinite, and The Big Hit was not good. Rob,
hey man,
is this a franchise?
No, they killed the whole ship. I think if they shoehorn in there was more aliens that were buried under the ice elsewhere, then it just seems that then it's just you're cashing in sake. And you know what? There's something to be said about restraint.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to always make a sequel to these movies, even if it could make a little bit of money. I just think it is what it is.
Yeah, they could have been greedy and set it up for.
But they got Chris Pratt. He's the golden boy. You just keep on churning out these deals.
No, I think it's fine. I think the movie is what the movie is. We're all clamoring for a Edge of Tomorrow sequel. It looks like it'll never happen. It's too bad. I would rather take one of those than one of these ones as a sequel. I think it's fine. Leave it the way it is. Show some restraint and move on to the next project.
Yep. Andre?
Oh yeah, I said they could totally do it. Why not? If the movie made money, right?
I don't think it's
I don't know how
streaming,
you
right?
I don't know how you judge metrics.
Sorry, let me rephrase.
If people watch it,
if people
like
watch it, and they're getting positive reviews, then of course they're gonna do it. Like, look, we can literally pick how many movies that ended on the first one, and we didn't think they'd get a second one, and the second one improved it, right?
Yep.
So there's always hope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but again, it doesn't even matter. It just matters if people liked it enough and they believe in, not only believe they see the reward for their work. And if that means people signed up for it, or they got a lot of praise or something, or they just have no other IPs to make and they just say, hey, let's just do this, right? Then they can do it. Nothing dies in Hollywood.
Yeah, and true. Our favorite franchise of all, if it was just end of the Fast and the Furious after number 1 or number 2, we wouldn't have Fast 9. So things can happen. All right, so that's pretty much our review and thoughts of this movie, The Tomorrow War. Any other final thoughts before we leave?
No.
Edge of Tomorrow. I'd watch Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, we'd all watch it.
Random,
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I think maybe you can do that on the Sidekicks review. I'm sure you should have done it during your Tom Cruise fiesta, Edge of Tomorrow. With
Tom Cruise-a-thon.
We haven't done a Tom Cruise. We don't.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Maybe,
Top 5 Tom Cruise movies. That'd be super hard.
maybe when Top Gun 2 comes out, we'll look at that.
Oh, that's a good one. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you like this, share, subscribe, comment below your thoughts on the movie, your review. Let us know how you think. It'd be super fun to get your thoughts and opinions on the page. So let us know. Put it in the YouTube comments. Let us know, and let us know how bad or how good you thought this movie was, and how much popcorn or alcohol you must need to digest in order to make this movie even better. So thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and support your local stores whenever possible. Go out there, buy something small, buy something big. Go visit John and Andre. See you all later. Goodbye.
Take
everyone.
care.
Nice. Thank you, Stu.
Station.